Love is rarely a sudden spark. For some, it is a slow, deliberate unfolding, a journey that begins in silence and observation, where the heart cautiously opens like a flower at dawn. It is in the small gestures, the subtle attentions, and the measured patience that the true nature of affection is revealed. Today, we explore the hidden language of a man's heart, the quiet signs that speak louder than words, and the transformative journey he undertakes when he is truly falling in love. When a man falls in love slowly, his process is often far more subtle than external expressions of passion or immediate emotional disclosure. The journey of his affection is not marked by sudden dramatic confessions, but by a gradual and deliberate unveiling of his inner world, revealing himself layer by layer. At the outset, he presents a version of himself that is socially acceptable and carefully constructed, a persona designed to navigate the expectations of society and relationships. This persona serves as a protective shield, a means to manage impressions and maintain a sense of emotional safety while assessing the receptivity of the other person. Love, in its truest sense, cannot flourish if the self is entirely masked, so this careful revelation is a critical step in his process of emotional engagement. The slow exposure of his inner self allows him to test the waters, to discern whether his vulnerability will be met with understanding or rejection. He begins with small disclosures, sharing minor fears, childhood memories, or anecdotes that reveal aspects of his character that are typically hidden. Each revelation is a subtle negotiation between trust and caution, a way of exploring intimacy without overwhelming either himself or his partner. These small openings carry symbolic weight, representing the first cracks in the armor that he wears to navigate the world. As these moments accumulate, they form a pattern, a tapestry of emotional honesty that signals the emergence of genuine attachment. The gradual nature of this process is not merely a behavioral choice, but reflects a deeper psychological truth. The inner world of a man is complex, layered, and often guarded against the potential for emotional harm. The willingness to share these hidden aspects indicates that he has begun to integrate his feelings into conscious awareness and is ready to engage with the relational world in a more authentic manner. Observing how a man allows these glimpses of his interior life is essential for understanding the depth of his attachment. It is not only the content of what he shares, but also the context, timing, and consistency of his disclosures that reveal his growing investment. A man who gradually reveals his fears, hopes, dreams, and past experiences demonstrates an unconscious alignment of desire and intention. Each small disclosure is a signal that he is reconciling the tension between the part of himself that seeks intimacy and the part that fears vulnerability. Over time, this unveiling fosters a profound connection because it is built on trust, patience, and mutual understanding rather than on impulsive emotion or external performance. In this slow unfolding, one can observe the emergence of genuine affection, a love that is not fleeting or performative, but deeply rooted in the recognition of the other as a meaningful presence in his life. It is in these moments, the shared vulnerability, the cautious self-exposure, and the trust extended over time, that the true signs of his emotional commitment become evident, reflecting a love that is both deliberate and enduring, a love that integrates the inner self with the relational experience. When a man falls in love gradually, his devotion often manifests not in grandiose statements or dramatic demonstrations, but through a series of small, consistent gestures that quietly reveal the depth of his feelings. These gestures, subtle and seemingly ordinary, are the visible threads of an inner commitment that is steadily taking shape. Unlike impulsive displays of passion, these acts are deliberate, conscious, and repeated over time, reflecting an alignment between his inner emotional world and his outward behavior. The consistency of such gestures carries profound significance because it demonstrates that his attention and care are not fleeting impulses, but enduring patterns. In many cases, these small actions might appear trivial on the surface, remembering details about your favorite things, noticing when you are tired or stressed, checking in with messages without expecting a reply, or taking steps to ease your burdens without being asked. While these behaviors may seem mundane, their repetition is deeply symbolic, as they represent the steady investment of his attention, time, and emotional energy. Over time, these gestures accumulate into a broader pattern of reliability and care, signaling that his affection is not conditional or momentary, but rooted in a genuine desire to nurture and support the other person. Psychologically, these consistent behaviors are the external markers of an internal process. A man in the early stages of falling in love is constantly navigating the tension between desire and caution, longing and fear of rejection. Through consistent small actions, he communicates a silent assurance, bridging the gap between the part of him that is still guarded and the part that seeks connection. Each gesture functions as a subtle ritual, a recurring demonstration of his attentiveness and commitment. Observing the consistency is crucial because it distinguishes authentic affection from transient infatuation or performative charm. A man who truly cares will continue these behaviors even in the absence of recognition or immediate reward, revealing an internalized pattern of thought and feeling that is oriented toward the well-being of his partner. Furthermore, these gestures often operate on multiple levels simultaneously. On a practical level, they demonstrate thoughtfulness and consideration. On an emotional level, they signal attunement, empathy, and the desire to maintain harmony in the relationship. On a symbolic level, they reflect a deeper integration of relational love into his life, suggesting that he is not merely reacting to moments of attraction, but actively weaving care into the fabric of his daily existence. Over time, the accumulation of these consistent acts forms a rhythm that mirrors the slow, deliberate process by which he is falling in love. Unlike sudden declarations, these gestures build trust and emotional intimacy gradually, creating a sense of safety and predictability. The enduring presence of such patterns is a powerful indicator that he is fully invested because it reflects the synchronization of intention, attention, and emotional commitment. Each gesture, no matter how small, serves as a marker along the path of his emotional journey, signaling that the love he is developing is deliberate, patient, and grounded in genuine care rather than fleeting passion or superficial attraction. When a man is falling in love slowly, one of the most revealing aspects of his behavior is the patience he exhibits and the way he tests boundaries in the relationship. Love for him is not instantaneous or impulsive. It is a gradual exploration, a careful negotiation between desire, caution, and the recognition of emotional risk. The act of testing boundaries is not manipulative, but is rather a natural process of assessing compatibility, mutual understanding, and emotional safety. Men who approach love in this deliberate way are often attuned to the subtle dynamics of intimacy. They recognize that true attachment requires time to unfold, and that rushing the process can provoke fear, resistance, or misunderstanding. This patience manifests in both small and large ways. He may wait before sharing his deepest thoughts, refrain from making immediate commitments, or approach sensitive topics gradually. In doing so, he is not withholding affection, but creating a space where trust can be built organically. By observing how he navigates conflicts, disagreements, and emotional exchanges, one can discern whether his intentions are genuine. A man who exercises patience in love demonstrates a capacity to tolerate uncertainty and ambiguity, which are inevitable in any developing relationship. He approaches emotional connection with a sense of deliberation, considering the consequences of his actions not only for himself, but for the other person as well. Testing boundaries also serves a dual function. It allows him to understand the limits and comfort zones of his partner, while simultaneously revealing his own thresholds for vulnerability and intimacy. For instance, he may probe emotional boundaries by discussing past experiences or fears, observing the response, and adjusting his level of disclosure accordingly. This careful calibration indicates a conscious desire to maintain balance between openness and self-protection, ensuring that the emotional environment is safe enough to foster deeper attachment. The act of testing boundaries is deeply symbolic because it reflects an inner dialogue between the conscious desire for connection and the unconscious awareness of risk. It reveals a man's ability to integrate caution with emotional courage, demonstrating that his affection is not superficial, but grounded in reflection and intentionality. Patience in this context is also a marker of respect for the relational process. He understands that love is co-created and that genuine connection cannot be imposed or rushed. Each instance of restraint, each measured step toward deeper intimacy, signals that he is attuned to the evolving dynamics of the relationship. Over time, as trust is established and boundaries are respected, these careful explorations transform into authentic emotional investment. His patience and testing are no longer defensive maneuvers, but conscious expressions of commitment, illustrating that he is fully engaged in the gradual, nuanced process of falling in love. This deliberate approach is indicative of a man who values not only the emotional rewards of the relationship, but also the integrity of the bond itself, prioritizing depth and sustainability over immediacy or superficial gratification. When a man falls in love slowly, one of the most profound indicators of his growing attachment is the way he begins to prioritize emotional presence over mere physical or superficial engagement. Emotional presence is the consistent, conscious effort to attune to the feelings, needs, and experiences of another person, to genuinely listen and respond in ways that demonstrate understanding and empathy. It is more than being physically near someone or performing routine acts of care. It is the active investment of attention and awareness in the relational space, an acknowledgement that the interior life of the other person matters as much as his own. For a man who falls in love gradually, emotional presence is not spontaneous, but cultivated. He learns to observe, interpret, and respond to subtle cues, changes in tone, shifts in mood, or fleeting expressions of need, allowing him to attune to the emotional reality of his partner. This attunement requires both patience and introspection. He must overcome the tendency to focus solely on tangible, measurable expressions of affection, recognizing instead that the invisible currents of feeling, reassurance, and understanding are equally, if not more, significant. Prioritizing emotional presence also means that he invests in creating safe spaces where his partner can express vulnerability without fear of judgment or dismissal. He understands that love is a two-way mirror, reflecting not only his own emotions but also the interiority of the person he cares about. By offering attentive listening, thoughtful feedback, and responsive engagement, he demonstrates that the relationship is not transactional or conditional, but rooted in mutual recognition and respect. This process unfolds gradually because it involves the integration of conscious and unconscious motives. Consciously, he wishes to support and nurture the relationship. Unconsciously, he navigates fears of inadequacy, rejection, or emotional overwhelm, learning to remain present despite potential discomfort. The prioritization of emotional presence also transforms the rhythm of his interactions. Ordinary moments, shared meals, walks, or even casual conversations become opportunities for meaningful connection as he infuses them with attention, care, and responsiveness. Each interaction, no matter how seemingly mundane, becomes a site where his affection is actively demonstrated. Over time, this consistent presence fosters deep trust and emotional safety, allowing intimacy to flourish. Importantly, this process is subtle and often invisible to those who are not attuned to relational dynamics. Unlike overt declarations or dramatic gestures, the man who prioritizes emotional presence communicates through the quality of his engagement rather than the quantity of his words. His commitment is evident in the way he listens without distraction, remembers details without prompting, and responds with sensitivity to emotional nuance. This approach reflects a profound psychological insight. Genuine love requires more than desire or attraction. It requires attentiveness, attunement, and the willingness to invest in the emotional life of another. In this slow and deliberate cultivation of presence, one can observe the emergence of a love that is intentional, patient, and deeply rooted in connection, signaling that he is not merely participating in the relationship, but integrating it into his inner world as a meaningful, transformative part of his life. When a man falls in love slowly, the signs of his deepening attachment often extend beyond words and small gestures into the realm of transformation, where the very structure of his life begins to shift to accommodate the relationship. This transformative commitment is not abrupt or dramatic. It is a gradual, almost imperceptible reordering of priorities, routines, and inner values, reflecting a profound internalization of love as an essential component of his existence. Unlike infatuation, which often operates in fleeting moments of heightened emotion, transformative commitment emerges when affection and attachment become intertwined with identity, shaping decisions and guiding behavior over time. A man demonstrating this quality may subtly adjust daily habits, reevaluate goals, or incorporate new routines that center the relationship without losing his individuality. These changes are not superficial concessions, but indicators that his emotional world is realigning to integrate another person meaningfully. Psychologically, this reflects the convergence of conscious intention with unconscious desire. His conscious self understands the importance of prioritizing the relationship, while his deeper psyche recognizes the intrinsic value of emotional connection and the mutual growth that love facilitates. The process of transformation often begins with small shifts, such as making time for shared experiences, reorganizing schedules to ensure presence during critical moments, or consciously providing emotional support even when it requires effort. These adjustments signal that love is no longer an abstract or optional aspect of his life, but a guiding principle influencing choices and actions. As time progresses, the commitment deepens, manifesting in more substantial changes that may include embracing responsibilities, cultivating empathy, and actively engaging in the emotional landscape of the partnership. This transformative process is significant because it demonstrates that falling in love is not merely an external experience but an internal evolution. The man who undergoes this transformation is effectively integrating relational love into the core of his identity, allowing the bond to shape his character, perceptions, and even his aspirations. Observing such changes provides insight into the authenticity and depth of his feelings. Unlike superficial or performative affection, transformative commitment is sustainable because it emerges from an internal restructuring of values and priorities rather than from external pressure or immediate gratification. It also indicates a willingness to grow and evolve in alignment with the needs of the relationship, reflecting both emotional maturity and psychological resilience. Furthermore, transformative commitment encompasses a conscious recognition of the interdependence inherent in deep emotional bonds. By reshaping aspects of his life to nurture the relationship, he acknowledges that love is not a static experience but an ongoing process of adaptation, negotiation, and integration. This integration fosters mutual development, as both partners are influenced by each other's presence and support, creating a dynamic interplay that strengthens the connection. In essence, the signs of transformative commitment reveal that he is no longer operating as an isolated individual, but as someone whose emotional and practical existence is increasingly intertwined with the other person. It is through this process that slow, deliberate love becomes enduring, demonstrating a profound and holistic engagement with both the relationship and the journey of personal growth it entails. To recognize a man's love is to observe the invisible threads of his attention, the careful unveiling of his inner world, and the slow, deliberate ways in which he reshapes his life to include another. His patience, consistency, and emotional presence are not mere behaviors, but reflections of a deeper transformation, signaling that love has entered his psyche and is quietly guiding his choices. Understanding these signs allows us to see beyond superficial gestures, to perceive the depth of feeling that grows in silence, and to honor the profound journey by which a man's heart, piece by piece, becomes fully engaged, committed, and intertwined with another soul.